There's a lot of ways to be inspired on this campus. If you want your son or daughter to be a trailblazer, then this is the place to send them.
Welcome to the campus of Bishop Eustace Preparatory School in Pennsauken, New Jersey. Hello, I am Dr. Jacqueline Kosha, head of school. We hope you enjoy this tour.
I welcome you to a community, a family. It's a place that I truly feel carries out the charism of our founder, St. Vincent Pallotti.
We believe very firmly in cultivating leadership and getting the students to become young men and women of integrity. And that means they need to be self-disciplined and have responsibility. So we want them to have this sense of independence and freedom.
This is laid out like a college would be. We make the students accountable for themselves. So when they have a prep period, they can make a decision. Do they want to come into the resource area to work one-on-one with the teacher? Would they prefer working downstairs with another student? But if it's been a tough day, they can go out on the quad.
Just having multiple buildings, being able to go outside, having a quad in the middle, it feels like I'm at college already.
The quad and moving from building to building, it's more than just a preparation for college in an academic sense, but also in a social sense, and just being able to have the freedom to have prep periods, to be after school and talk to teachers. It's a lot more engaging of an environment.
I was definitely a little bit worried about meeting new people and if I would like, the education here. But once I got here, the learning experience is much better than what I've gone through in the past.
We give that spirituality to them that allows them to love their neighbor.
Today is the Feast of St. Michael. Thank you for your service. And the Diocese of Camden encouraged students to make cards to their local police officers to thank them for their service. And it also reminds us that we're called to serve one another.
You'll see a number of different measures we have in place to keep people safe during the day. We check to make sure they've completed a daily health survey, temperature screening kiosks with facial recognition. You'll see the directional signage. The desks have been rearranged, hand sanitizer stations everywhere, plexiglass in front of any desk in a high traffic area. We've invested a lot to make sure that the students are safe. Right now, around 30 students are opting for a virtual plan.
What's the smallest particle of an element that you could have? Do you remember? Go ahead, Marissa.
An atom.
Exactly.
The teachers are feeling very comfortable now with the technology we have in place.
We have 20 sports, freshman teams, JV, and varsity. We have a large percentage of our student body that do play sports.
It's been great. It's really competitive here. The coaching here is strict, which is really good because it really gets you ready for college.
What do we have to run power?
Coaches here, they love to develop talent, and nothing makes a coach happier than see, a freshman who struggles in their senior year, they're the captain of the team.
The big cornerstone of our department that everyone loves is our spring musical. 2 years ago we did Little Shop of Horrors. This past year we did Legally Blonde.
The mentors, they help us and they teach us, but we really do get to build a robot. You only get this kind of experience here. We're building well-rounded human beings. We're not just looking for the smartest or the most athletic. We're looking for somebody that's going to go out and take on this world and make it a better place.
So we hope you've enjoyed this quick guided tour. Now enjoy the rest of the presentation. Welcome, and thank you for joining us today. The video tour you just watched gave you a glimpse inside our beautiful campus, and now we want to share all the things that make Bishop Eustace Preparatory School so special, what we call the Eustace difference. Deeply rooted in Palatine tradition, no school prepares students to become leader citizens like Eustace. In addition to our dedicated faculty and staff, who better than our students, alumni, and current parents to share their perspective, and they're gathered with me today. At this time, I would like to introduce a remarkable young man, our student body president, Nick Ward.
Thank you, Dr. Kosha. I'm Student Body President Nick Ward, and I would like to thank all of the families going the extra mile today and joining us on this stream despite the unfortunate circumstances that keep us apart. I will say, though, that going that extra mile is certainly in line with the character of Bishop Eustace. We've seen plenty of examples of that this fall, from our early morning risers on the crew and football teams going to practice before school even begins, to the efforts of student council trying to maintain our usual activities despite the COVID-19 pandemic, to the students who brought in supplies this week and made 1,000 sandwiches in less than a day. It's all part of the plan at Bishop Eustace. Going beyond what is expected is expected. I hope that today, above all else, it's able to spur your imagination, that you're able to envision, if just for a moment, your son or daughter at Bishop Eustace, in the halls, wearing a uniform, having the students as their peers and teachers as their mentors, and you can be proud of that vision, proud of the school, proud of your child, and that you can be confident knowing that your son or daughter is going to college with 4 years of the most well-rounded, introspective educations they can get, and also have been in an environment that emboldens them to be innovators. I would now like to introduce our principal, Ms. Ivey.
Thank you, Nick. The core of the Eustace Prep curriculum includes 6 major courses each year. Students can choose from a wide range of offerings that allow them the flexibility to choose and pursue coursework in their areas of interest. There are special options such as testing out of introductory level math and accelerated or summer math, as well as broad offerings that include honors, advanced placement, and college dual credit courses across all disciplines. Academic achievement is recognized in a variety of ways, from the Reverend Marco Martorelli chapter of the National Honor Society to individual departmental honor societies recognizing excellence in each discipline. The STEM Scholar program at Eustace Prep is a unique interdisciplinary course of study focusing on science, technology, engineering, and math. Participants engage in student-centered experiential learning that emphasizes critical thinking, creativity, and innovation in STEM subjects. The flexible structure at Eustace Prep, coupled with a variety of alternatives in our educational program, offers every crusader a pathway that ignites their passion for learning and challenges them to reach their full potential. And now I'd like to introduce Salome, who was going to tell you a little bit about our service learning program.
Hello, I'm Salome, and I'm here to talk about the Palatine Ministry. The Palatine Ministry gives students the opportunity to give back to the community and bridge relationships with others, whether it be the people you help or the students and teachers you're working with. Though it is required, service is a fun and insightful experience that every student gets to enjoy. The benefits of service is not only looking good on a resume, it gives students a better work ethic, leadership opportunities, and more empathy. The school offers many chances to receive hours. Starting this year, there'll be a service opportunity every week, which can vary from tutoring younger students to helping with the poor. There will also be a student council-esque club that works under the Palatine Ministry this year. And if there isn't anything in school that suits you, you can find other service options outside of school. Service at Eustace is productive for students as well as fun and shouldn't be difficult to complete. And if you do find yourself with an issue, you can always reach out to Mrs. Gandolfo, Director of Palatine Ministry. Now I would like to welcome Mrs. Mandarino of the Guidance and College Placement Department.
Thanks, Salome. So one of the biggest advantages that you have as an incoming Eustace Prep student is you not only get one counselor, but you get 2 counselors with the College Placement and Guidance Office. We will help you from the minute you step in these doors to help you with not only figuring out your career exploration, but to also help you along the way socially, emotionally, and academically. will also help you get to college, obviously. So we're super excited to help you with your transition from junior high into high school and also help you get to where you need to get to be when you get to college. But let's be honest, high school isn't all about the academics. There's a lot of fun to it as well. So I'm going to hand it over to Sarah Ledyard, who's going to talk to you about student activities.
Thank you. I'm Sarah Ledyard, and I'll be speaking on behalf of student athletics. There are so many activities at Eustace to become involved in that can help you explore new interests and make new friends. Personally, I'm involved in the French Club, which is a language club where we can explore the French language through cuisine and entertainment. I'm involved in Cellar Dwellers, which is a downscale kind of performing arts club where we make our own films and plays. I'm involved in the Chick-fil-A Leader Academy, which is a new addition to the Eustace community, where we are given leader labs each month and a service project to do. I'm involved in the Phoenix Literary Magazine, which is an expressive club where we make a magazine every month filled with different kinds of writing, such as poetry or research articles. There are things like art and photography involved. There's really something for everyone. There are so many different kinds of clubs at Eustace, whether it's academic or fun, or there's a variety of sports. Everyone can become involved in something. Flexible coaches and administrators allow students to become involved in many activities so that they can broaden their horizons and fill their college applications with good things. There's truly something for everyone. Next up is Mary Atkins with athletics.
Hi, my name is Mary Atkins. I'm currently a student athlete at the Bishop Eustace. I've been attending here for 4 years now. We have an amazing athletic program. We're always competing against the most competitive schools in our county. We have great staff and faculty, always at our games on the ready in case of an emergency. And just like every other school, you can participate in multiple sports if you feel the need to. So feel free to try it out and don't be shy. Now we're going to have Bella talking about performing arts.
Hi, my name is Bella Masso. I am a member of the class of 2021, and I am a third-generation Crusader in my family. When it comes to performing arts, there are so many different ways to get involved. As for band, we have 6 different bands on campus: concert band, string orchestra, full orchestra, jazz band, pep band, and pit band, which is the band that plays for our shows and is by invitation only. Any student can learn to play any instrument, and I am totally a prime example of that. I started playing the flute October of my junior year, and by second semester, I was already playing with the band. Mr. Ennis is happy to teach any student. When it comes to choirs, we have 3 different choirs on campus: Choral Workshop, which is open to freshman and sophomore female students; Concert Choir, which is open to all male students and junior and senior female students; and Select Choir, which is open to all students in all grades and is by audition only. When it comes to theater, we have 1 spring musical every year. In the spring musical, this involves student instrumentalists, student performances, and student tech crew. There are so many fun ways to get involved in our musical, and you don't have to be a part of the arts department to audition. We also offer AP Music Theory, which is typically taken by students in the arts department that have a lot of involvement in the arts and interest in music. Something very unique about our department is what we call an IMS, or an independent music study. This is 1 period of the cycle that meets to either go over materials if you are a conflict with other classes, or if you have things to work on outside of school, it can be used as a lesson period. We have the wonderful venue, the Scottish Rite Theatre, where we perform our musicals, typically the last weekend in February, and our Christmas concert for choir and band, and our spring concert for choir and band. I would like to introduce Mr. Ballin, who will be talking about technology.
Good morning. My name is Tom Bound. I'm the Director of Technology here. I've been here for 11 years, and I'm continually looking for ways to improve our technology tools here on campus. From teacher laptops to media capabilities in the classroom, including hovercam document cameras, large screen touchboards and Blu-ray players, to camera security systems, access control and lockdown systems, to networking, internet, Wi-Fi, and campus-wide broadcast television systems. The improvements we've made throughout the years have put us in a position to be able to transition to virtual and hybrid teaching models, with the tools to be able to simultaneously teach the students that are in person, as well as those who are connecting from home. We have here what's known as a BYOD model, bring your own device, which mirrors what a lot of colleges do. Instead of tying students down to a specific device, we provide secure access to our networks on a device that the students choose. In addition to being able to bring in their own devices onto campus, under normal circumstances, we have a lot of devices here that the students can use every day, from cell phone charging stations, desktops and printers, and even loaner laptops. Additional technology has also been put into place today and this year to keep our community safe, from daily health survey systems to lunch pre-ordering systems to facial recognition temperature scanners. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me at technology@eustace.org. And now I have the pleasure to bring up next Tori Wishnick, our Director of Admissions.
Thank you, Mr. Bound. I am Tori Wishnick, Director of Admissions and Enrollment. For most of the parents during this process over the next couple of weeks, you'll be dealing with me. So I just wanted to go over a few items on the application process before we start some Q&A. And again, this is a good time. If you have any questions, please feel free to use the chat option on Facebook and put in any question you might have, because we have many other members of our panel here that are ready and willing and want to get on camera and talk to you and answer any questions you might have. But first, again, thank you for coming today to visit us virtually. We do have a great campus. Hopefully some of the administrators and students were able to share that with you and answer some of your questions. The next part, since you are interested in Bishop Eustace and you have your child, if you're an 8th grade student or a transfer student and haven't already done so, you can check us out online at www.eustace.org. And from any page on that website, at the top of every page, there's a little button that says Apply Now. You can apply now if you haven't already done so. We're thrilled to say that we already have many applications in, and we know many other students are in progress. So that application will actually get you started on many items that are upcoming over the next couple weeks. If you have any problems logging in, when you click on that Apply Now button, the system will ask you to create an account. What's neat is that for many of you who have already pre-registered, or maybe you were here last year at the open house, the system's already created an account for you. So if you have any issues logging in, please just email admissions@eustace.org and we'll make sure we get your parent account set up, and I'll reset your password so we can get you logged in. But once you're logged in, you'll find you're going to be logging in as a parent. Your child's name will be in the top left corner of your screen, and when you click on your child's name, some of you have multiple children out there because there's a couple twins in our group, but click on your child's name and it will take you to an application checklist. On that checklist, you can do everything from complete the application, you can submit your teacher recommendations from that point. The online portal is very easy to use. You can actually just type in your teacher's email addresses and it will automatically send an email request for a teacher recommendation. From that portal, you can also upload any transcripts or test scores that you might have. If you don't have copies of those, that's okay. There's also a records request form that you can download, and then parents can sign and return to your middle school so that you're releasing the records so that they know they can release the records to us, to Bishop Eustace. So please use that online portal. It's pretty easy to use. Also, one of the next things that's coming up that we can get your children onto campus for is our high school placement test. So that's coming up in about a month. We have two options for testing. We have Saturday, November 14th. It's a morning test from 8 a.m. until about 11:30. And the second option is Sunday, November 15th, from 1 o'clock to about 4:30 p.m. To register for one of those two tests, you must submit an application. So if you could, please again, go online. It's actually part of the application process. So right before you submit an application, there will be a question on there as what test you would like to take. Just indicate that on your application, and once it's submitted, you'll be registered for the test. So that's how we get the registration. There's not a separate registration for the HSPT test. One of the other things, too, I know many families might have questions out there about our tuition and fees. So we do have a financial aid application also available online. We use a company called FACTS, and I know many of the Catholic grammar schools in this area might also. But if you have any questions, please let us know. We do have a finance department that can help you, but that application is also online, so that is a separate application. So you need your Bishop Eustace application, and then if you intend to apply for financial aid, you also need to apply through the fax application, which there's a link on there. And now, what we would like to do is start some of our Q&A, so we have our principal, Ms. Ify, back up.
So our first question is, do freshmen have the ability to get involved or take computer science classes? So the actual coursework in computer science begins in for our upper level students, our junior and senior year. We have an introduction to CAD course. We have AP computer science. So the coursework is for our upperclassmen. However, there are many opportunities outside of classes in which students can participate in computer science or coding. We have a robotics team, and we also have other club activities that would include coding and computer science. And now I'm going to go back to Tori.
Thank you, Ms. Ify. Next up, we actually have a few questions that are coming up through chat. So again, please feel free to use your chat options. One of the questions that I received was, how much money in scholarships did the class of 2020 earn last year? Well, let me tell you, there's actually a lot of information online. If you look, you scroll down, a lot of stats and statistics. But our scholars have actually all of our students over the last several years, but last year alone, earned over $3.2 million to go to college. That's pretty darn impressive. So we had about 150 graduates, and collectively they earned over $3 million to go into college. So the average return rate on a Bishop Eustace education is pretty strong. We also have another question in. We're actually going to be looking at the next up, who's our president of our Bishop Eustace Parents Association. And I have to say, I'm really in awe, because Cindy Sobosinski has been around for quite some time, and not just 1, 2, or 3 children, but Cindy, you're a parent of 8 Bishop Eustace children. So Cindy, I'm going to pass it over to you as a long-term parent.
Thank you, Tori. Hi, my name is Cindy Sobosinski, and yes, I am the parent of 8 children, 7 of which have graduated from Bishop Eustace, and my youngest is currently a senior. I have to say that Bishop Eustace has amazingly prepared all of my children for their future, for college, for the decisions that they have made. As the current president of the Bishop Eustace Parents Association, there are also lots of great ways for parents to get involved within our community as well. So as Eustace is a family, we wish to welcome your family to Bishop Eustace.
Hi, I'm back. One of the biggest questions that have come up is transportation. And I too can speak on behalf of transportation, because I happen to also be the transportation coordinator. So transportation this year in particular has been pretty tough with the COVID-19 pandemic. But generally speaking, transportation is actually up to your public school or sending district. So if you're from a sending district that normally provides busing for the students, a regional school, for example, then the public school district is required to do one of 2 things. One, they can either provide a bus for you and the family to Bishop Eustace, or 2, if they find that the bus is a little too far away or it's costing them too much money, what they will do is actually provide families what's called aid in lieu of transportation. And that aid in lieu is financial stipend back to your family. So many of our families, especially this year, because right now we have no busing to Bishop Eustace, again, because of the pandemic and the limit on the number of students per bus. So the individual public school districts have been providing aid, which this year is about $1,000 per year for families that you'll get back from your public school district. Again, next year we hope that the busing will come back to many of the areas. Also, please know some of the smaller districts that do not provide, or what they're called walking districts, that do not provide any buses for their own public school students, you would not have an opportunity for a bus from your public school because there's no busing. So hopefully that'll answer some of the questions. We'll also address that a little more at the registration. So in March, when we have registration, we'll get some more information on the busing as well. So, but we also have, again, the questions are coming in through chat, which is great. We're able to welcome a couple people back up to our panel here, and we're back with Dr. Nikki Mendrinos with our school counseling office. So, Nikki?
Thanks, Tori. And this one is actually a great question. What percentage of students go on to attend a four-year college? It's actually a little bit over 98%, which is pretty high. And why is that? You know, we have a really rigorous curriculum here at Eustace Prep, and we want to make sure that our students are prepared to go on to four-year institutions. Hey, we even have somebody going to Harvard. Hopefully that answered your question.
I'm back here. We did have a great question about testing out of math. And I think Dr. Ify had addressed that a little bit earlier, but we do offer, of all of our departments, math is probably the best options to be able to go once we have some placement options. I'm going to actually pass it back over to Dr. Ify to try to address that with the math placement.
Okay. Well, we have placement tests for freshmen. For freshmen, we have a placement test before students enter in the fall, and that's usually takes place sometime in the spring, March or April timeframe. For our other math courses, the prerequisites are determined by the current math course that the student is participating in. I had some other questions that came through. One was, how can parents monitor their students' progress? We always encourage an open dialogue between our teachers and our parents and our students, and that's really the best way to gain feedback on how your child is doing in a particular class. But we also use the PowerSchool platform, and that is where a parent at any given time would be able to monitor their students' progress. Another question that came through was, how does a student earn college credits? And there are actually two ways in which college credits can be earned. One is through the Advanced Placement Program. So we offer advanced placement courses in all of our disciplines, AP Stat and AP Physics, and many in the Social Studies department. We have 18 different AP courses in all. So that's one way that a student would take the AP exam, and then that would potentially be eligible for college credits depending on what college the student attends. But we also have the dual credit program. And with this program, even courses that are not AP courses, advanced placement courses, are eligible for earning college credit through Camden County College. For example, we just added this year, law and criminal justice is eligible for dual credit, as well as many courses in all of our other disciplines. All of the upper level world language courses are eligible for dual credit. And then one other question that we received was, do you offer students classes in the STEM field? We have many classes in the STEM field and across all of the disciplines. So of course in the science field, we have many STEM courses. All of our science courses would fall in that category. We have our basic biology, chemistry, physics, but then we also have advanced placement courses in all of those subjects. We have advanced placement in environmental science, and then we have anatomy and physiology, genetics, zoology. So those are some of the STEM courses in our science department. In our math department, we have AP statistics as well as college prep statistics, and then of course algebra, geometry, algebra 2, pre-calculus, calculus, and we have calculus AP at the calculus AB and AP calculus BC. And then in some of our other disciplines, in social studies, we have AP macroeconomics, which would fall under the umbrella of STEM courses, and we're going to be offering for our new class of 2025, AP Human Geography, which would be the freshman level social studies course and would also fall under the umbrella of a STEM course. And now I'm going to turn it back over to Mrs. Wishnick.
Thank you, Ms. Ify. I'm back up, and before we get a student up, I did just want to address one thing with the transportation, because I know there's some questions. One of the benefits of our library and some of our resources on campus is our library is actually open till 6 p.m. daily. So that's a really nice benefit to the students who might also be involved in student activities or sports. Because if they don't have a club meeting until about, I would say, maybe even 3 o'clock, or what happens if you don't have practice until 4? Well, you can come into the library because it's open until 6 p.m., and you can get some of that work done that you might not be able to, get done or want to get done when you're at home, after a long practice or a long day here at school. So students can absolutely utilize the school library not only throughout the day, but also into the early evenings. So speaking about that, and speaking about what is a normal day for a student, we're bringing back up Nick Ward, who, Nick, basically, please try to tell us what is it like? Like, when does the school day start? What's it like for a student?
Absolutely. So the school day, every student has to be in their respective rooms at 8:10. So you'll generally see students around 7:55, 8 o'clock come in and go to the cafeteria. Now, what's in there? Now, because of COVID-19, we have to have extra checks to make sure that everyone is safe and healthy. So students will get their temperature checked. They'll be recognized by the kiosk. There are 40-minute classes, then there is a 5-minute passing time between each, so students can get from building to building. There are 8 periods in the day. Lunch is served from 4 through 6 period, and then students through multiple classes, except for some of the AP ones, will have prep periods. As Ms. Wishnick said, the library is an integral part to the Eustace system for almost every class, except for some of the regular algebra, regular English for freshman year, and some of the advanced placement courses like AP Chem, AP Bio. Every student will have a prep period for one of their classes. We run on a 6-day cycle, A through F, and on one of those days you will have a prep period for a certain class. You will come to the library. We have all the face masks up. We, of course, have barriers on the desk so students are not interacting too close to each other, but it's a very interactive environment and one that's very collaborative. Students are able to bring in their device once again. They're not allowed to use the computers now because of COVID, but they can still communicate with students and still do work in the library. Then once those 40 minutes are up in that prep period, they'll move on to their next class. Then after that, there's sports, extracurriculars, and they can go to the library still to see teachers after school if they need help with a certain subject. This is, of course, because of COVID-19, another thing that we have to address. So students will have to plan accordingly with their teachers so they can come in and see them. But that is the entire day of Bishop Eustace mapped out for you. Now we're going to head back to Mrs. Wishnick.
Great. Thanks so much, Nick. That's very helpful. So next up, we do want to bring in an alumni, a member of our alumni board, and also a current parent. We've recently celebrated 65 years of Bishop Eustace Preparatory School, and we're very proud of that. And to have an alumni who's out now also a current parent can also help us address some of the questions that have come up about changes, because certainly through the years there's been changes and all, but we have Mr. Frank Troy who is with us today. He's an alumni, and he and I spoke before we went to broadcast, which is pretty interesting because I'm sure, Frank, many of the students that you went to school with think that I guess the heyday was back in the 80s and 90s when you were a student. But I'm interested to see, how would your daughter think about that now that she's a student here? And as a parent and alumni, I think that you can help address some of that for us.
Thanks, Tori. I'm Frank Troy, class of 91. And I think this is a frequently asked question of a lot of the alumni out there about the changes to the school, and to compare and contrast what you're seeing today versus what you were seeing back in the heyday, and or the perceived heyday. I would say that right now, from a student perspective, it's still the challenging environment that it always was. A lot of the changes that we've implemented over the last 3 years are really starting to take hold at the school here. I think it's again, it's an extremely challenging environment. I think the administration is fully engaged. The students are finding it to be both a challenging environment. It's also a fun environment. My daughter is really excited to be coming to school every day. So any sort of students or parents that are thinking about coming to the school, I think this is an exciting time to rejoin the school at a fun time, and I think it's a really positive future in front of us. Back to you, Tori.
Thanks, Frank. I definitely can concur with you that as a parent myself, I'm a parent of 2 students. I have a freshman and I have a junior. And certainly being an employee, it's a fun place. I've been here over 20 years and I love it. But I do see it as a different perspective as well as a parent. So I'm glad you were able to share some of your remarks with us, Frank. One of the questions that have come in, we know that we have many people currently watching and those that might not just be 7th and 8th grade students, but we have students who are looking to potentially transfer to Bishop Eustace, which again is always exciting to be able to welcome students into our community. So we've asked Salome Prime to come back up because Salome joined us last year as a sophomore. So Salome, if you could give us your perspective on what it was coming in as a transfer student, we'd love to hear it.
Hello. Last year, as I changed schools from a school up north, I was very afraid about how I would socially and academically handle all the new changes. But on orientation day, the day before the first day of school, I was met by a girl in my class came up and said hi to me, and she introduced me to her friends, and then so on and so forth. I had a group of friends that I am still friends with to this day. And if you are still worried about not the social aspect, but more academically, teachers will continuously help you and reach out to you if you are struggling. As of right now, my English teacher is helping me with a paper that I'm struggling with. So whether that be making friends or struggling with your academics, you always have someone to reach out to and help you in any of those aspects.
Great, thanks, Salome. It's been wonderful having you as part of our community. So we've been getting a lot of questions as well from some of the activities and sports. I can say I was athletic director for 15 years here. So I'm calling up Mr. Mike McGinn, who is our new athletic director. And Mike, through the years, and I can tell you during my term as AD, one of the biggest questions that I would get from the athletic department is regarding one sport in particular with volleyball. So Mike, maybe you can help answer that today.
Hi, Tori. Yes, we've had several questions over the years, especially with volleyball, and I'm proud to announce that starting next year, fall of 21, we will have girls varsity volleyball. Among other sports, that is going to be our newest one. We've also had a couple questions regarding the number of faculty who are also coaches. 60% of our faculty coach at one of the sports here, but we also have faculty members that moderate all the activities. Another question that has come up has been girls golf. Currently, right now, we have co-ed golf, so between boys and girls, and they play at the Pennsauken Country Club each year and have been doing very well. Tori, back to you.
Thanks, Mike. We have some questions that are coming up on how we're handling things during the COVID-19 pandemic. So one of the biggest issues probably is our community service, because traditionally we go out and about into the community to help serve those that are in need. So we've called up Mrs. Jo Gandolfo, who will help us identify what's happening during the COVID-19 pandemic. So Jo, I know that Salome was able to share some of the things that we've currently been doing with making over 1,000 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, but what else are the plans for this year with the COVID-19 pandemic and service?
Thank you, Tori. During this year, we faced many challenges because many of the organizations that we have had a long-standing relationship with, we were not able to go in to serve, as nursing homes, hospitals are limiting the amount of people that can enter. So we've been creative in how we can approach service. We are looking for service opportunities where the students can be safe, socially distanced, and if possible, outside. As Nick mentioned, we made over 1,000 sandwiches on Friday, and we will be making more sandwiches on Monday. During COVID, as many of you are aware, many people are struggling and the need for food is still great, so we are able to feed people and still bring service to the community. We're also taking part in an organization called Farmers Against Hunger, which will be outside. In mid-November, we will go to a farm and glean, and that food will be given to local food shelters. We're also coming up with virtual ways to interact with nursing homes, such as recording Christmas caroling during the Christmas season and sending it virtually to those homes. We're also in the process of virtual tutoring for kids in the Camden area, and we are trying to find new ways all the time in which we can serve and make everyone aware that service is still paramount at Bishop Eustace. Thank you, Tori.
Thank you, Joe. We're now going to call up a few students to talk about some of the activities and school activities that students can do beyond the school hours. But before we jump over and we're going to welcome Sarah back up screen, just want to remind you that please, if you have questions, we're certainly working behind the scenes and we'd love to hear from you. So we're trying to do our best to answer everything we can. But again, please feel free to chat. I'll also talk in a few moments about how you can contact us if you haven't gotten any questions answered. But please, let's take a few more minutes to answer some questions for you. But we now have back Sarah, who will help identify some of the activities that go on beyond this classroom.
Okay, so one of the questions that came up in the chat was, do we have dances? So yes, we do have dances. Every year there is an annual homecoming, which follows the annual football game. And all of the students, freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors are invited to attend. And we celebrate with the election of a homecoming king and queen. For each grade, they have their respective dances. Each class has their own moderator, which is one of the teachers. I'm class of 2022, and the moderator is Mrs. Burke Esposito and Mr. Robin. And last year, they created the sophomore cotillion, which was a beautiful dance, and everyone had a great time. The freshmen have a welcome dance created by their moderator. It's really nice because they can come in and they can kind of get to know each other a little better after, I think, about a month of school. Juniors have junior prom with a ring mass, so they get their own rings and they have a nice mass and they get everything together, and each student picks out their own ring. And then senior year, they have of course, senior prom. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Sarah. I did just get a question in. We had several students on campus last weekend taking the practice HSPT test. We had over 40 eighth graders on campus taking that practice test. And just so you know, that was a practice exam, really to help simulate what the students will be doing in November for the actual HSPT test. So that practice test, students walked away with a raw score. But what will happen for the HSPT test? Students have to sit, again, for one of the two tests in November 14th or 15th, and you will get your test results mailed to you. The top scores of that HSPT, those who take that HSPT test, will be considered amongst what we call our Palatine merit-based scholars. So the top scores, it's traditionally the students that score in the mid-90th percentile and higher, do end up being awarded Palatine scholarships. Again, some of the gracious generosity of our board of trustees. Last year we were able to award a top scholar who received a full scholarship that went for, it's a 4-year full scholarship. From those test scores for the HSPT, we also offer some half scholarships and quarter scholarships. And again, we're looking at the top scores on that HSPT test. So if you were with us a couple weeks ago for the practice exam, we look forward to seeing you again soon. Hopefully you got some of your jitterbugs out of the way, and you'll be all set for the upcoming HSPT test. But now we also have another student that's back. Bella's going to address the question. We did have some questions come up about the activities for performing arts, and are there other clubs or activities that you can get involved with if you're interested in the music? So Bella, can you help share that with us?
Of course I can. So when it comes to performing arts, Eustace proudly sponsors students to audition for honors ensembles, and these honors ensembles include All South Jersey Regional Bands and All South Jersey Regional Choir, the New Jersey All-State Bands and the New Jersey All-State Choirs, and Olympic Conference Band. In school, we have 2 honor societies in the arts department. National Thespian Honor Society, and Tri-M Honor Society. These societies are open for induction starting sophomore year to students that are very involved in the department, and those are by invitation only. Also, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but our male students, they are sing in the same choir all 4 years. They sing with our concert choir with our junior and senior female students. Also, when it comes to our show, involvement is super, super great, and you can get involved. When I said tech, that means lighting, sound design, stage crew, lights, stage managing, etc. You can create your own involvement in that, so that's really cool. I encourage you to get involved, and if anyone has any more questions that has not been addressed, please feel free to reach out to Ms. Weir or Mr. Ennis, and their emails can be found on the Performing Arts page of the Eustace website.
Thank you, Bella. I'll tell you, the spring musical is certainly a highlight of the year, and I've always loved going to the musical. This past year, my son was a part of it, so it was neat to also be a parent and see all the work that they do and put in behind the scenes. So it's really impressive. We're pulling back Mr. Frank Troy back up. There was a question about the alumni base. Frank, do you think there's a strong alumni base here at Bishop Eustace Prep?
So absolutely. I would say that there's, when you look at the alumni base, there's probably two different approaches to this. There's the official alumni base through the alumni board, the alumni association, and there's events such as your annual reunions, there's golf outings, and there's various fundraisers throughout the course of the year. But I would say probably more important to that, or equally important to that, is the unofficial alumni base. And this is no matter where you are, no matter which year you graduated, if someone knows that you graduated from the school here, you're usually introduced as, this is Frank Troy, he's a fellow Crusader, and you have an instant bond with the people there. And just this past year, my best friend from high school, I was asked to officiate his wedding, and this was out in San Diego, so where he lives now. And here it is, practically 30 years after we graduated high school, and there were 8 people from our class there that attended the wedding. So that really speaks volumes to how much the school means to you well past your graduation date. And I think that it truly is, once you're a Crusader, you're always a Crusader, and you always have a bond with everyone out there in town. Thank you, Tori.
Thanks, Frank. It's amazing how many of those stories we hear basically almost on a daily basis from the alumni that come back. It's heartwarming to hear that you out there as alumni still have those connections with your friends that were, as Frank said, potentially 30 years ago, 50 years ago, but even those that are more recent. We love the Christmas holidays when our young alumni come back to visit us at school, so that's always a highlight as well. So we did receive a question on chat that somebody's heard that we have a new football coach, and actually Coach Purcell is with us here today, and we'd like to introduce Coach Purcell, and he can tell us a little bit about the football program. Coach?
Thank you, Tori. Eustace Prep is a collegiate model academically, and one of the things that we wanted to do from an athletic program, specifically the football program, is model ourselves also like a college. How we lift, how we train, how we study. Our program is essentially built on brotherhood. We are a culture trumps talent program, and everything we do will be based upon that. In everything that we do, we will always strive to be 1% better than we were the day before. We expect to win at Eustace. However, how we win is extremely important. Our baseball, basketball, and other programs across this school have been top-notch for years. We expect our football program to take that next step. As I said, we expect to win, but however, we will judge our program on who these young men are 20 years from now, who they become as sons, fathers, and eventually, sons, husbands, and then fathers is extremely important to us.
Thank you, Coach. We know that the faith, family, and football is certainly a core aspect to your program. We look forward to our next game, which is actually this Saturday coming up. So I know the COVID-19 pandemic has been causing a little issue where there's lack of tickets, but that's always the fun part to it as well. So we wish you good luck this season. As we kind of wrap up our program, because we appreciate you joining us with us, we're kind of wrapping down our question and answer right now, but I'd like to reintroduce our head of school, Dr. Kosha, for some closing remarks. Dr. Kosha?
Thank you, Mrs. Wishnick. Thank you again for joining us today.
We look forward to welcoming you to our campus. Mrs. Wishnick described the many different ways in which you can visit Bishop Eustace Preparatory School. We want you to see the Eustace difference firsthand. Thank you.